ThorFixRoks podcast. Today we're gonna cover a couple of heroes like Hulk and Iceman. We're gonna talk about some interesting stuff, so stay tuned.
Yeah, as always, we start up with the patch notes. This time we have two short patch notes. It's mostly about changes in the influence system and Genosha in general. Now the influence system is working as it should. So all cool with that. Daily missions give 4 hero commendations and protectors commendations, which are the old Ice and Hearts of the Demon Fire, and a week will give 40 Ice and 30 Hearts. So that's 40 hero and 30 protectors commendation. Otherwise, if you get blessed by Odin or CMM blessed, then these ultimate upgrade tokens now stack. So that's as well good. And the mission changes, like when these weekly missions, shared quest reset, the time actually changed now. So you better check the patch notes to see when it actually changes now and resets and actually convert it to your time zone. So yeah, that's all I can say about these two short patch notes.
Okay, well, let's get right into the first topic of discussion, which is a post that Doomso posted about estimated upcoming project deadlines, and mostly had to do with achievements. The reason the post was written by Doomso, and it's actually a pretty lengthy post, was because many people were asking about achievements, and it's pretty much a huge topic on forums at the moment. It's like, where are achievements and this and that, and Doomso kind of broke the silence and talked about achievements, why are they not out and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can link that post in the description under this video.
So the post itself focuses a lot on project design, showing us exactly step by step what's happening with achievements. The reason it takes so long is because Doomso actually compares this project to many different ones. But the reason why it takes so long is because it's a really huge process. It goes right from making an achievement, and then that achievement actually has to go for a process, and people actually have to agree that it's a great achievement and stuff like that, and if the rewards are worthy as well. So if you multiply that times 600, because that's how many achievements we have at the moment, well, we are going to have, but that is the launch plan anyway. So it does sound like a lengthy plan, but I do understand why people are frustrated because of the achievements, because we really are misguided with the achievements, because as some of you may know, achievements were actually meant to launch right from the start, but they weren't, because there was actually some speculations forums that some achievements were actually scrapped because they weren't good enough, and some people were actually wondering what was happening with achievements. But then we had like forums were kind of silent about achievements for a while because we didn't really know what was going on. But if you watched some streams, apparently there were people saying that achievements were scrapped because they were too easy and stuff like that. So that's why they went back to the boarding room, and people were actually being like, okay, what's up with the achievements? And they tried to pull them up a lot, and I mean, I played them on test server because they are on test server, so clearly they are coming in a couple of weeks, which is exciting for people that actually want achievements in the game. Personally, I don't really care about achievements. There are a few that I might want to do, but honestly, not really bothered by it. Although, I do kind of understand why Doomso is frustrated with the whole topic of achievements, because sure, some people are misguided, but some people simply take it way too far. It's like, oh yeah, if they are getting an estimated deadline, they think it's a definite deadline, so they're gonna get it, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be happy. But if there is one thing I learned about Marvel Heroes, is that you have to be patient with everything. You can't really you have to wait for everything, because even if you see it in one patch note, it's like, oh yeah, this is coming, but I wouldn't bet on it because it does require a lot of testing, and of course they are excited about the new content and stuff like that, so they want to get it out as soon as possible. But sometimes it's just not possible, because if one department says it's ready, the other one might not, because let's face it, they aren't a huge company, and sometimes they just don't communicate as effectively as they could. So
Yeah, the post was mainly about achievements not being out, and it's true because I remember people started talking about achievements and they hoped for it to come out for the first anniversary, but it didn't happen. They kept questioning the developers, mainly Realnil and Doomsaw, and I think one of them said that, okay, maybe end of the summer. And actually Doomsaw started spoiling X23, Bronx Zoo, and achievements. So we all thought that, okay, X23 is a side project, so obviously it's confirmed that it's coming late November or early December, and it happened like that. Bronx Zoo was, I think, on the test center 2 weeks after these spoilers, and achievements still not out. People actually were silenced about this, and then I think Realnil in October came up with the whole subject, and he said that maybe end of the year. So we were at the end of the year, still no achievements. Then again, it was said that maybe mid-March, and no achievements again. But actually, how you said, finally achievements are on test center and they're doing okay. Only like maybe 2 or 3% of the whole achievements are bugged or not giving the exact rewards what's stated, or they are bugged, or they have tooltip errors. But yeah, the issue is not that achievements aren't out after so many times the game being out, because if you look at, for example, Star Wars The Old Republic, I remember playing it a year after, or 2 years after launch. Achievements weren't out. Then I left the game, I came back 2-3 years after, and I just realized that, ooh, achievements are out. And I got like achievement for leveling up to level 10, 15, 20, 25, and people kept asking me, am I cheating or something? They didn't believe that I played this game 4 years ago and there weren't achievements out. But under that post you mentioned, I'm not even going to pronounce his name because I will kind of fail, but I think you all will know if I say it was a comment by the cable guy from Legion of Dupe. If you Well, if the guy is not playing Cable anymore or he's not in Legion of Dupe, then I apologize. But I had to actually agree to his comment because he got the point. The point is that people aren't mad because achievements are still not out, but people are mad because they were promised something and it didn't happen. Then they were promised again and that didn't happen again, and it was like a never-ending circle.
well, the thing is, we players weren't actually promised anything. We've seen many of these potential deadlines, but none of it was like guaranteed, you know. So no one was. Well, it was to be expected that it would be delayed, you know, by many weeks or months or something. But yeah, of course, maybe it shouldn't be delayed by as long as it was. But at the same time, I doubt they could actually make a proper estimate, because you know, with heroes they can make a proper estimate because they work constantly on them, and they know how long it takes, you know, from start to finish. They did say it's approximately 4 months, and because they never really worked on anything like achievements before, it's kind of hard to see that. So plus they did say that the idea for the achievements was for an average player to do them in around 6 months or something like that. So you know, maybe they thought the achievements were too weak.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking into consideration any of these averages set by developers, because they said, okay, an average player for an average player it takes a year to have 7,500 omegas. But I think I'm casual. I'm not farming Taskmaster or anything like that, and I have like 4,000 at the moment, a bit less even, like 360. and other players just had just max omegas like 2-3 months after release. So it all depends on you.
Well, I'm not an expert, but I think Omega system and achievement system are kind of different. Sure, in both you kind of have to collect points and stuff like that, but with Omega it was tied with your experience, so it was more like everybody had to do it, rather than with achievements, not everybody has to do them and stuff like that. So with Omegas, yes, you could max them pretty fast, especially with experience boost and all that stuff. You could have it maxed pretty fast. I think actually some people did max within a month or something like that, which was pretty crazy. I didn't really see the point of maxing it because there wasn't really any challenging content. Not that there is now, but you kind of need a lot of Omegas for Genosha raid. But back to achievements. Because there's like 600 achievements and everybody has different interests, so they will want to do different achievements at different times. And it's not really tied with experience, it's more about the rewards. So I feel like people are gonna be very picky about which achievements they're gonna do, because obviously they're spending their time on doing some achievements. I feel, well, from what I've seen, some achievements are worth doing and some of them just aren't. Well, in my opinion anyway. Because personally I would want to do the achievements that give you titles, because they look pretty cool and some of them are actually pretty cool. The one I'm gonna aim for, it's probably one of the hardest achievements actually, and it gives you the title The Insane or something, and it pretty much makes you to like kill X amount of boss and all that stuff. I'm not exactly sure if the numbers are right, because it's still test servers, so it can still change. So now we are gonna go on a break. In the meantime, you can listen to this Hulk theme song. I hope you guys enjoy it. Take care and see you soon.
Enjoy. Welcome back, everybody, and now we are going to talk about the Hulk, the green
Incredible
guy,
Hulk.
the Bruce Banner. And actually, he's a really fun character right now after his review. Um, he's one of the characters with the highest damage output and the lowest TTK. Actually, I think he's really fun. Actually, it feels like he actually has two signatures. Of course, the Thunderclap and the Meteor Storm feels like a signature as well because it does so much damage, and it also resists all the cooldowns. Uh, the other power that's really great is I think it's called the Knuckle Busters. You actually rip a car apart and you use it as also as a defense and also as offensive power. So I think you get some damage negated while you're using it, and all your melee powers get extra damage while you're equipped with those cars. Especially, I think use it with the Gamma Strike, which is your main boss killer and main damage output. So yeah, I have the costume wise, I have the Hulk Marvel now. So that costume is like the armored Hulk, but also the Hulk has a lot of great costumes like the Avengers costume and the his chase costume is pretty nice as well. So there's a wide variety of costumes you can choose, and all of them look good in a way. Like Planet Hulk is also great looking. Um, Actually, a fun fact is about Hulk is that people wanted a different ultimate because it used to be the Meteor Strike. They wanted like a huge Gamma Bomb strike, and actually Gazillion did that. They delayed the whole Hulk review by a week or maybe even a week and a half, so they can do a new ultimate. And yeah, his ultimate is great as well. It leaves like a huge gamma field AoE. Also, you can jump around with the Hulk, so definitely he's a lot of fun, and you should really play him if you like him, especially after you will watch the Avengers Age of Ultron movie, which comes out in 2 weeks or maybe 1 week in some countries.
Well, funny thing is you mentioned reviews because actually they've been really flexible with the whole review system about Hulk especially because some people simply weren't happy and they did some changes. They delayed the whole review, but yeah, they weren't really pushed with any movies or anything like that. So but now, do you think it's gonna happen the same with like Scarlet Witch or what do you call them? Yeah, with Scarlet Witch because we have a movie, but if people aren't happy, do you think they're gonna delay it or we're just gonna release it or something?
Yeah, Scarlet Witch was like my least favorite character. Also
Wow.
because I so wanted new characters. Actually, my favorite characters from random boxes when I started out playing Marvel Heroes, but I kept opening Scarlet Witch tokens, and I already have like a rank 5 or 6 ultimate. But yeah, I mean, her ultimate is pretty bad, but I hope she will be better. Actually, I'm actually looking forward playing her once she gets a review. I have high hopes for her. I actually blended my costumes and I opened her. I think it's called the Ultimate costume that kind of looks like the Avengers costume.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass.
Yeah, so actually that wanted me to play her. So I hope for the best.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, back to Hulk now. Well, I have the green guy, and I did not like him before his review at all. He was just, but he's one of those characters where he's actually represented pretty well in Marvel Heroes. I mean, what you know Hulk for? Like he smashes and is brainless pretty much. So pretty much all you do is smash your keyboard and not think twice about what you're doing. Yeah, as you said, he does have two signatures pretty much. You know, he can use his signature and he can use his meteor strike. and then he can use his signature once again. So there
Yeah.
is a lot of burst, and that's why he has the best TTK. It's not exactly that he has the best damage, it's just he has one of the best, if not the best burst.
Yeah, and I think Star-Lord was actually the first character who had this mechanic that you could actually refresh all the cooldowns and you could use 2 signatures back to back.
Yeah, Star-Lord, then Mr. Fantastic, I think. And now Hulk. Unless I missed someone.
So Rockeros, what's your opinion about Hulk?
Well, I actually really enjoy Hulk right now, not because of his damage, but because of his playstyle, just because he feels way more like Hulk than before. I leveled him to 60 before his review once, and it was a nightmare. I mean, he was probably my top 3 worst heroes for leveling of all time before his review. But right now, I even prestige him to green, and I actually got really lucky just because in the day he got his review, I blended a couple of costumes and I got his Horseman of Apocalypse costume, which is my favorite Hulk costume in the game so far. So this is one reason that made me prestige him. The other one, as I said, is his playstyle. But yeah, he's really fun to play. He's totally up there, damage-wise, fun factor-wise, gameplay-wise, and everything. And he's actually not that hard to gear up. I mean, I don't have him gear up, but in my opinion, he's not that hard to gear up. For example, not like Hawkeye or Human Torch, like we talked about in the last episode, which are pretty item reliant. This is not the case with Hulk. You can just probably get his uniques, a couple of good artifacts, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I enjoyed playing Hulk, but for some reason I enjoyed my Juggernaut a bit more. So kind of my Hulk is shelved for a bit until I don't know when.
Funny that you mention it. I mean, I played Hulk for just like 7 levels after his review, and I thought he was fun, but I knew right from the start that he's not gonna be for me. So I was just like, you know what, green guy, I'm not gonna play you. But overall, whenever I see Hulks, like they are pretty cool, and you know they do have good visuals, and he does play the way Hulk should. So, but as you mentioned, you know, you're enjoying Juggernaut more. But I feel like even though they are kind of similar, they are different because Hulk stays true to himself, you know, smashing all that stuff, and Juggernaut also stays true to what he is, you know, momentum. Like he's all about momentum and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah, I do have to say I do enjoy Juggernaut much more than Hulk. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Juggernaut, I just kind of geared him for the raid. But I definitely do enjoy him.
Yeah, so I guess that's it. What we can say about the Hulk. I mean, I strongly recommend trying him out. I think you won't be disappointed with him. So yeah, he's worth your splinters or your money or whatever you're using to buy him. And now we're actually going to talk about someone who's more cooler, I guess.
Nice pun intended.
Should be pun intended. So yeah, we're going to talk about Iceman. Selfix, I know your Iceman is on Cosmic Prestige, so you can like talk about him.
Well, yes, he is on Cosmic Prestige, but he was probably one of my worst ones. But yeah, I guess I can start. When it comes to Iceman, whenever it was announced that he's gonna be released, one of the first heroes in this pack, I was totally excited because Iceman was my second all-time superhero favorite. So you know, I was really excited and like already pretty much had Iceman in my mind, how he would play and stuff like that. And then he came into test server and I was like, what on earth just happened? Like something just hit me, you know? It was pretty bad because he didn't play at all what I was imagining, you know? Obviously he has a lot of builds which are all viable, and I do like that. No matter how you play him, you can't really go wrong. Either you go ranged, melee, hybrid, summoner and summoner range, summoner melee, whatever it is, everything works. So I do like him in that aspect, but at the same time, I feel like all of his builds lack. If you go full ranged, there's something lacking, some flashy move and stuff like that. I remember on first of all on test server, his signature was totally bad, and the community kind of asked for it to be changed for something more
Yeah, it was the
iconic.
work of art at first.
Yeah, it was a freaking statue which he just summoned, and and I was like, wait, I did not even see Iceman do that. So yeah, everybody just kind of asked for it to be changed, and it took a couple of days for them to come up with a new signature, and it's now Absolute Zero, which is pretty much what Iceman is about, and I actually love it.
And Absolute Zero gives you nightmares in PvP.
Oh, definitely, you definitely want to see that in PvP. And it looks pretty good as well. Well, not if you're in PvP, because you're gonna die with before you even see it.
Yeah, and Iceman is totally negating all attacks while he's doing it.
Yeah. But yeah, if you decide to go melee, you're also gonna feel like he's lacking a lot. He's kind of clunky in melee, but he's still playable. I mean, I play him hybrid melee and ranged, but I don't know, I still feel like he lacks a lot, so yeah. As people, well, most people play him summoner because, it's like his best DPS build. He survives the best as a summoner and stuff like that. But whenever I play the summoner, I was like, wait, I don't even remember, Iceman being a summoner. Sure, he could summon his golems or whatever, but it wasn't like part of his, well, it was part of his kit, but it wasn't really anything major. So yeah, whenever I seen that, I was like, okay, I might just try it. And I just hated the whole idea of a couple of zombies following me, so I was like, ugh, whatever. So, I quit playing Summoner, and I just played my own build. Not many people play my build because, it's not exactly as viable as the others, but it's the most fun, in my opinion, anyway. And when it comes to his costumes, I mean, he only really has one. There was supposed to be another one. What was it? The Age of
Apocalypse.
Yeah, the Age of Apocalypse, but it wasn't really released. They did say there was some issues with his face or something, but we still haven't heard anything about that. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be delayed by much longer, if that's even coming out. But yeah, I definitely want a human form of Iceman because I feel like he will be much cooler actually walking as a person doing, icy attacks.
Yeah, well, at least his 400 splinters, because many people speculated just when the Advanced Pack 2 was announced that Iceman is going to be the one with the 600 splinter worth and price. Because they were expecting like really cool visuals, like cool.
Yeah, exactly, and I was expecting the same. So honestly, I would totally pay 600. Like I wouldn't mind, but it's just sure they spend a lot of time on it. But I feel like they kind of run out of ideas because Iceman doesn't even play like Iceman should. He doesn't even feel like him. Sure, his ice pants and all that, but that's the only thing. And well, his signature as well. I feel like they just kind of got ideas from different games, mages and stuff like that, and just put it into Iceman. Because he pretty much, he has a skill called Ice Orb, and it's pretty much from Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, so honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, well, since Iceman is like one of the first X-Men, I believe he's in the Marvel vs. Capcom games, right?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of powers there that guests could use because those powers really look great.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I actually never played the game, sadly, so I don't know if they took any powers from there or not.
Not really, but then again, there's many superhero games, and where they could actually, like, they already had the ideas pretty much, there in front of them, but they were like, oh no, we're just gonna keep it simple, and Diablo 2 or Diablo 3. And I really don't like, like, Diablo 2 was great, don't get me wrong, I loved it, but isn't it time to move on and, try to think outside of the box, and I don't know.
Well, I think the Frozen Orb is definitely a good addition because it reminds people of their childhood or whatever they spent in Diablo games. So it's definitely a good addition, and It's also good DPS as far as I'm concerned. It's like one of the main attacks in range for ranged Iron Man, isn't it true?
You mean Iceman? But yeah, it is true. Yeah, I mean, it is the most flashy and probably one of the best skills as well. It actually got to the point where, well, most of my Cosmic Prestige was actually made with Frozen Orb. Like, I wasn't really using anything. I was just dashing and Frozen Orb everywhere. So it actually got to the point where people were using that as a build, just using the Frozen Orb, nothing else, which is crazy. So that's why I don't feel like he plays the way he should. I mean, he shouldn't just be spamming one skill and being like, oh yeah, game over, let's move on. I mean, that's kind of boring. So, and I don't feel Iceman should be boring because literally he could make anything he would want with ice. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if this would be like a DC and also Marvel game, then people would bitch about Green Lanterns as well because you couldn't just create everything.
Yeah.
While in while in the comics, Green Lantern could create anything from turrets to nuclear bombs, anything.
Exactly my point.
So actually, I say that everybody should try out Iceman. If you are unsure about it, then just go to test center and try him out there, because he's really a character that you can play by a lot of ways. You can build him ranged, melee, summoner, as we already said. Heck, maybe even you can combine them in a way. You just gotta choose its stance or focus or however it's called. But otherwise, if you know what you're doing, then you can create a pretty hybrid looking hybrid Iceman.
But yeah, like you said, I never actually imagined him being a summoner in any way. Like that being his main build kinda ruined the whole thing for me. I really like Iceman. Yes, he's one of the founders, the first X-Men ever, and he's really cool looking guy. But yeah, the fact that his most viable build was the summoner kinda, I don't know, made me not being so hyped about him at his release as I expected to be. Um, Yet I played him, I leveled him to 60, I enjoyed him, I played him only ranged just because I feel that this is the way you should play with Iceman. But yeah, they could have done way better with him. I don't hate him, I don't dislike him, but I don't know, in my opinion he's nothing special. But the bad side of the thing is that he can be something special. The worst is he's just not. He does not stand out from like most of the roster that are like ranged heroes.
Yeah, I agree. And also, well, the main thing is that he was voted like on each poll you've seen, people voting for heroes. Like he was always number one or number two, and so they could see, people wanted that hero, and so if that's the case, then they would see that sales would definitely go up if they made him stand out, make him something special, and make him actually 600 splinters, because I feel like he would be much more worth the price, because now, sure, I feel like they focus too much on the animations because they are beautiful. But as for the actual gameplay, I'm sorry, but he lacks.
Yeah, well, that I think that was the problem with Iceman. Just because he was voted in every single poll, people wanted him so bad that they just made him that so he can be in the game, no matter how he looks or what he does.
Perhaps.
Which is kind of sad, since Iceman has so much potential. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it about Iceman. I still say you should try him out and make sure you know the difference between Silver Surfer and him. when you meet them. Because Iceman tends to get really angry if you confuse him with Silver Surfer. And yeah, and people should be happy that they have nice weather, because if they say anything bad about Iceman, probably there will be bad weather. Some, might snow and ice might happen like in the next few hours, which will happen in Ireland because Selfix is from there and he said smack about Iceman.
Actually, it's pretty funny, so you know.
It is now, but in the next few hours it won't be, believe me. So yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Next week we are going to talk about Invisible Woman, which is Selfix's favorite main character. He uses his bullshit bubbles in PvP and always kills me.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about Iron Man. I'm a real Iron Man pro, but yet I hired someone to talk about Iron Man in the next episode, who is an admin from our supergroup.
How much you paid him?
What?
How much you paid him?
That is classified. I'm sorry. I cannot really
that's a
say.
bummer.
So yeah, of course we're going to talk about patch notes. We hope those patch notes won't be like 3 lines long again, but a little more. And we're going to talk about another topic, which is top secret right now. So you have to tune in next week to find that out. So see you guys.
I don't even know. See you.
We don't even know what's the topic.
I don't know either.